Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you, I want everybody to know this is my face. This is the first time you are seeing me if you are not a member. So, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. This is a very special episode because we have reached 1 million views for the channel. So, Joseph always does the introductions for everybody else. So, how about we do one for him? So let me go ahead and get my music going on here. So without a doubt here, let's show some love. I gotta give you good music. All right. All the way from Hialeah, Florida, Joseph Babaifa.
Oh man, a milli, right? Guys, thank you so much. 1 million cumulative views on the channel. I know there's a bunch of people that have it. I know there's a bunch of people that don't. But the idea that 1 million times the play button has been touched to be able to watch us and our content, super humbling like always. And we'd be nowhere without you guys, the people that are watching, especially our members as well. The random passerbys to our channel and the ones that come back after seeing that first video. So definitely a humbling experience. Still hasn't set in yet, but I would love it if people saw the spread that
Booyah! Look at that.
The diabetic coma that I'll be in by the end of the end
so
of the
we
live.
got balloons, we got
man.
cakes, we got all of that, all for Joseph.
You guys spoil me, you really do. And you know I got problems because I'm holding the kazoo like a cigar. I'm not smoking any this week, so let me get one good puff before we get started.
It doesn't make sense, but
it's a nice gesture, definitely, man. I appreciate you guys so much. It's everything is so appreciated, for real.
Yes. So guys, if you are in the channel here in the chat, say hi. We already got a whole bunch. So
really, that's awesome.
All right, so let's start saying hey to people here. Hold on. Oh my gosh, a lot of views. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Boru Paladino, congratulations. Incredible milestone and what's to come. Love you too, Junior. Thank you so much, Mihaly Boruboya. Thank you. Thank you, Mel. Congratulations. Thank you so much. I got music, Bendiciones. Congrats on 1 million. Love from Los Angeles. Thank you, guys. Shout out to LA.
There we go.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fresh to Death 1975. Thank you so much. I share this is an amazing accomplishment. I'm so grateful for all of your work, as we are appreciative and grateful for you guys watching it. You know what I'm saying? It's reciprocated, I assure you. Ralph, hello. Rob, thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, whoop, whoop, Logan. There's a lot of them, Jenny. Oh, congrats, Mihaly. Face reveal.
First face reveal.
First face reveal. Oh, yeah, for Phil. Phil is an indecipherable man. He's definitely within that category.
Yeah, I mean, all the VIPs already know what I look like. So.
Oh, yeah, they've been blessed. But, now you've gone public, and there's no way for you to hide now.
Right.
Rich, congrats, Baba, and our roots. Iburuboya. Thank you so much, Rich.
I mean, we got a ton of these guys.
Enter the Crisis. Malik, thank you. Congrats, brother. Thank you so much.
And, folks, I'm actually going to put the phone number on the screen. So if you do want to call in and leave your thoughts, you can. So the phone number is 352-717-4071. So if you guys have any questions, this is also a live Q&A. And you guys can ask questions. There's some questions in here, but so here we go. First question. You ready to go?
Absolutely.
You have any thoughts about the 1 million? Your channel started in 2018.
Yeah, it seems like yesterday. I remember when we started in my grandmother's back room, and Poroye was a real driving force there. It was always an idea, but I never thought I was actually going to do it because the way I was trained in Ifaz, it was so hermetic. The idea of actually coming out with a channel was really foreign to me, a little scary, to be honest with you. That's why I'm so thankful for my partner. But, I was really resistant to it because at the moment, a lot of the channels we're seeing weren't necessarily positive. So I didn't want to get kind of associated with that. But luckily, with what we've been able to create, with your assistance as well, Phil, we've been able to put out a product that we think actually represents us authentically. What you see is what you get, and so many of us have actually know us and have interacted with us and know that. So that's probably the most gratifying part, that we haven't changed. we are who we say we are, and we're able to portray that even through a camera. So that's probably the biggest thing. And a million times of anything is just, it's insurmountable. It's really, it hasn't set in yet.
So I need you to grab that cupcake.
All right, but nothing weird, Phil. All right, I have a
All right,
reputation
folks.
to maintain. You know what I'm saying?
We got to do a cheers.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to pray Ofumei over this one because I'm not supposed to be blowing out candles. But God forgive me.
Don't eat that one.
No, but this is the good one. Look at all the confectionery sugar. You know what I'm saying? There's a little cream
So
there.
hold it up there. Hold it up so everybody can see. All right, congratulations to 1 million views. Here's to many, many more.
Boy. You know what I'm saying? It's good stuff. Let me get a little. God bless.
We got a phone call already.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Let me get this bite in real quick before we start dialogue. Forgive me. Poroye is watching. Forgive me, honey. I'm getting messy.
Hey, it's there's no diet today.
Yeah, right.
So.
Just mac and cheese and 5 wings. Don't
All right, folks. You are live on the air. Who's this?
This is Cuban Crisis Malik.
Malik, what's good, Bobby?
Boy, shishay, but I'm proud of you, man.
Well, no,
Very proud of you.
I appreciate you, and I want to take a moment on this channel with however many people are watching to extend my appreciation to Malik, and his channel, To the Crisis, one of the first people, if not the first, to ever interview me and give me the opportunity to be on his program, man. A Cuban brother, a New York brother. And, brother, I can't wait to have you on here. That's definitely coming once we get some things organized. We're going to be linking up, and I think it's going to be an epic conversation like the first one.
Absolutely, brother. I just want to say 3 things. You're always welcome back. All you got to do is let me know. I'll make time for you. Number 2, those that watch me, which isn't a lot of people, but the people that do watch me, the conversations I have with them, they know of you. And there's nothing but good things about you because of 2 things. You're a good character. And number 2, you bring Odu and Pataki. You bring knowledge. You don't bring anything else.
Yeah.
And it's appreciated, especially in today's world with the charlatans that try to rep this tradition. And I appreciate it so much. And whenever you want me to come, brother, I'll come to Orlando. It's a 4-hour ride. No problem.
Now we're gonna link up. We're gonna see what we do. If I end up down there, if you end up coming here, man. But greatly appreciated. In my regards to the wifey and the kids, man. Happy everybody's doing healthy and well, and can't wait to see you guys.
Likewise, brother.
Dale, brother. May do Boru.
All right, guess what? We got super chats already.
Oh, guys, super chats. Get to the top of the list. Get those questions answered.
All
Thank
right,
you
so
so much.
first one. This is from Dennis Diaz.
Dennis, thank you so much. Hey, Baba. I just finished my hand to be fought today. Wow, congratulations. It makes sense. It's a Sunday. My sign came out as Obekana. Can you break it down for me? Oh, man. Obekana's great. I'm a huge fan of this Odu. Forgive me, that cake's coming up.
Too fast?
Yeah, it's all that sugar. But Obekana's a fabulous Odu. It really depends on what your goals are. Obekana really has an opportunity to do whatever they want within this spirituality. The Ogbe's are really special people. They're people that have a lot of talent, a lot of charisma, a lot of ambition. But the most important thing with these kind of Odus is the organization, doing everything at a collective pace so that you don't get overwhelmed by your own desires, right? Because Obekana, depending on what you actually decide to do, it speaks of when women started wearing shawls within the year in white, right? So you have a predisposition towards Orisha. But then at the same time, it's where the tools of the Babalawo were born. So, the person with the right characteristics could end up becoming a Babalao. It really depends on what your desires are, but Obekana is somebody that's really going to be able to attain quite a bit. The most important thing is really fortifying that relationship with the elder that's going to take you into further steps, making sure that we always seem loyal. Not that we're not being loyal, but we always want to give off the impression that we're being loyal when we are. Because unfortunately, Obekana is falsely accused of, kind of wavering away from their house. And that Odu was where Obekana was betrayed by Ayobe. So Ifa says you also have to be careful with people who have this Odu. Not that they're your enemies per se, but there has to be distance and category when it comes to interacting with them. And, always be very aware of your surroundings, aware of what people want from you, what you want from people, and work towards your goals. Obekana has to be like the elephant. We're working towards a goal. We have to be relentless. But at the same time, we have to have patient, motivation to be able to get there in a way where we're still able to enjoy it and not destroy the whole forest on the way.
Well, we got another caller, so who's on the line?
Good evening. This is Omi Yoko Iburu Iroya Cheche Bendición. Baba and Phil.
Hey.
I wanted to just congratulate you guys on 1 million streams. I just want to say how blessed and how honored I am to be able to be a part of that. And I just wanted to congratulate you, just wishing you millions and millions of more. And just thank you for creating this beautiful community for our virtual selves to be able to just be free, talk freely, and just learn from you guys. And I truly, truly appreciate from the bottom of my heart finding this podcast because it helped me during my Yahweh. And I'm looking forward to meeting you, Baba, in a couple of weeks and getting some work done. So thank you so much for doing this for this community.
Absolutely, Jen Iboru. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the views that your video generated and your interest to be on the channel and the courage to do so. You know, you played a role in that. Definitely. Yeah, she did. 20,000, close to 30,000 views on a TikTok video. So Jen definitely pulled a bunch for us, and we really appreciate it. And can't wait to be able to put some things in action for you so you can see those results. And just know that you're greatly appreciated and happy for all of the progress that's come from our collaboration.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you guys as well. Continue, much blessings, and we'll see each other in a few weeks.
Iboru boy, I mean, mama, yeah, bless you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, man. This is rolling. We got another super chat here. This is from Adam Ortiz. Oh, hold on.
Adam, thank you so much. Why is it important to keep a child of Babaluaye calm when they are enraged? My elders always told me this, and I never understood why. Well, the thing is Babaluaye belongs to a part of a certain clan of Orishas known as Orisha Pupa, which make reference to the red Orishas. The red Orishas make reference to the Orishas that utilize red palm oil quite a bit. And when red palm oil is utilized, it's actually to calm or to be able to lower temperature, right? So Babaluaye is somebody that really personifies all the negativities when it comes to personality flaws. You know, we talk about rage, fury, revenge, a little bit of a sadist, because he would find joy in children crying. That's why his children, we have to be very careful, you know, within reason to maintain them in a condition or environment where they feel comfortable and calm. Because remember, there's the story of Babaluaye where he was at the drumming and he started dancing and he fell due to his condition and people made fun of him. Well, he cursed everybody with smallpox, measles, malaria, whatever was his disease of choice at the moment, and he almost killed all the Orishas, where Olodumare had to tell him you can't react like that. Where you know, he also cured them, but from that point forward, everybody moved with a lot of caution when they were interacting with him because they didn't want to go through that again. So that's why his children have to really be careful with how they react to things, because you could curse somebody and that curse could actually come true. You know, you got to kind of have that about you. So lots of patience, you know, avoid people that take you to that place, and, you know, try to manifest positivity to get all the benefits from your guardian Orisha.
Then guess what?
Another one? Horns are flying today. Here we go.
This one's from High Dollar Honey.
Great name. Baba, congratulations. Also, will you please tell us about the Odu Irete Batrubong? Irete Batrubong, I'll never forget, I was at a Hand of Ifa, right? And there was this beautiful young boy that was receiving Hand of Ifa. I think he came out a son of Oshun or Yemaya. One of the two. It's been many years. I think I had less than 2 years of Ifa at that point. And the young boy comes with Irete Badrubong. And he actually hadn't developed the skill of walking yet because he was a little bit overweight. And I remember when the Odu came out, I had studied it briefly and remembered that it spoke of when Iku, or death, first tried human flesh. And he became addicted to it, right? And, you know, they had to replace human flesh with, you know, meat from animals. And that was able to keep death at bay until it was time to ultimately transition someone where he was going to consume it anyway. So I remember in the month said, you know, we get this this boy on an action plan towards slimming out a little bit because, you know, the excess weight could really start negatively affecting his joints, really delaying his development, because apart from the physical benefits that come from a child walking as far as their muscularity, their development is directly in tune with that. And she actually revealed that the doctor had mentioned the same thing, that they needed to be careful with a degenerative condition that could start consuming the cartilage due to him being overweight and a slew of other things, where they were able to really get motivated to remedy that after their divination. So I have to give the same advice to you. With your physiology, you have to make sure that we stay a certain weight, we have a certain appearance, and we're careful with any conditions that could really affect musculature, degenerative, progress within the muscles, the body, anything that could affect organs, because this is where death ate, human flesh for the first time. So it speaks of deterioration of the body, as well as us being very careful with what we put in our body, because it could have an adverse effect.
Wow. So many comments coming in because we got another one.
Oh, here we go. Top of the list.
This is from Miss Lotus. Just a comment, just saying she's so grateful.
I'm so grateful and blessed by this channel. Thank you so much. I'm from Ecuador, living in NY. Forgive me as I don't comment much. We sincerely appreciate you, Miss Lotus. If you do come up with a question, let us know, and we'll treat it as if it was the same thing with this super chat. But thank you so much for watching, supporting, responding, and the pleasure is all ours. Thank you.
Did you blow out that candle?
One of them, the other, I don't know.
Is that still rocking and rolling?
I don't know. I'm kind of scared. The one on top of the cake. Let me look at it actually. Let me see if there's any flame in there.
Hold on.
No. We're good. No hazards. But it was getting intense, man.
All right. Well, we got another phone call. So caller, you're live on the air. Who's this?
Hey, peace. This is Rather Wizard. Thank you, Baba, for all of the amazing work that you do. Thank you for showing up in the world in the way that you do. Thank you for being an example of the power of learning Odus and how that can benefit one's life. And I do have a question, if you got space.
Oh, Rob, please, man, please.
Okay. So my question is, in addition to one's elders, do you have any recommendations of how one can learn more about the Dilogun and studying the Dilogun?
Absolutely. Are you crowned or not crowned?
I am not crowned yet. I am due. I am so overdue.
Okay. Yeah, we all are before we do it, right? But with the Dilogun, remember that a lot of this information is by clan. It's by lineage. Like, for example, there's things present within my library that I'm eventually going to release but haven't done so yet because they're so delicate and so precious to me as far as information. Because a lot of the stuff that I put out is from my personal library that's handed down to me 4 generations back from our first African ancestor. So there's a lot of information that we put out that some Babalao brothers are like, where'd you get that story? And we're just very blessed to have great literature. But the reason I mention that is because when we're learning the Dilogun, we have to make sure that our first resources are elders. But once you're a licensed professional Olorisha, you have the right to delve into other sources because, it is one of the most complex divination systems on earth. Before crowning, though, I wouldn't focus too much on the Dilogun. I would focus heavily on your Hand of Ifa sign. You want to get close with your Godfather of Ifa for that. And you want to learn the things that are within your scope at that stage. So you can learn a bunch about herbs. Ironically, we have a membership program delving into them heavily. And then apart from that, songs are huge. Things you want to really build that foundation of the things you can learn beforehand. Because if you start learning the Dilogun before, we can become a little discombobulated spiritually. And we're kind of, interrupting the foundation we could be building. Because before you even throw the shell, you have to know how to sacrifice. You have to know so many things just to be able to make it to the mat. If you want to be a well-rounded Olorisha priest, which I'm sure you do. So, but ultimately, the first resource is going to be your elders. But once you're crowned, you have the right to, as a doctor, I don't only have to read the materials from my college, college library. I have the right to apprentice with others, do my residency with others, look online, forums, etc. But you just want to make sure you're looking at legitimate info.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you for that wisdom. I appreciate you. Again, blessings, millions more people need to know you.
Thank you.
To experience your wisdom. Thank you. I say peace.
God bless you, Rob. Thank you so much for the time.
All right. Oh, man. We're already 20 minutes in. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
All right, here we go.
Quez Go Crazy. This is a great name. How do American-born Black people find their place in African spirituality, whether it's Isese, Lukumi, Palo, or Hoodoo? I tell you, we're in a time where people are very focused on color. And, I love the point that this person brings up because we shouldn't have to look at color as a defining factor as to how we're going to be placed or, the fact that anybody of a different skin tone feels like they have to really maneuver their way in. That I think we're at a disadvantage there as a culture. if people are getting to that point where they feel uncomfortable, possibly to the point where it's like, well, where do I fit in? How do I fit in? Originally, obviously, because Africa being the cradle of civilization, this is an African religion originally, but not because it was necessarily meant to stay African, but it's where the dawn of creation actually occurred. It is the religion of human beings. I think some color find out where you're ultimately going to be practicing and flourishing in is really based on vocation. You have to kind of go through your rounds, experience a little bit of Ifa, a little bit of Isheshe, a little bit of Lukumi, maybe a little bit of Hoodoo. Like when you're going through your free agent stage, please stimulate yourself, But once you kind of feel pulled towards one, or you notice that life keeps bringing you back to one, it's kind of letting you know this is where you're meant to be. Some people ask me, Baba, why didn't you become an Abakwa? Even though you have the opportunity now, why didn't you become a Freemason? To be frank with you, I didn't know these things kind of existed. I remember 20 years ago, the Awakwas weren't, walking Hialeah just, saying I'm an Awakwa, The Bawalaos, you'd recognize them a tad bit more because of the bracelet, but you'd have to look so hard on this to see. You wouldn't even know. So, you ultimately are going to end up where you fit in, and nothing other than your desire and the hospitality of the house should, have an indication as to whether you're welcome or not. It has to be completely feel, regardless of nationality, hue, what have you.
All right. This one's also from Ra the Wizard. Here we go.
Ra, in addition to one's elders, what do you recommend for studying the Dilogun? You want to have reputable sources. I mean, as you go through, if you are going to delve into Dilogun divination, you have to go through apprenticeships. You have to kind of get close to people that are going to be able to, help you grow within that divination oracle. So it would take a real coordinated effort between your elders, possibly the people you're trying to learn from or with, because the internet has a lot of superfluous information. I'd say 90% of what's online is really false, and I think I'm being a little bit generous. I want to go to 99 point something. I'm just not that mathematical. So you really want to get with people who are able to say, hey, this information has been utilized for a set amount of time in ceremony over and over again. No one's been embarrassed. Everybody's received benefit from it. It's been prolific. This is what you need to learn, whether it's in Nigeria or here.
All right, man. Do you remember your first video you did?
Yeah, it was in my grandmother's back room. I did it on a Go camera that was gifted to me by my goddaughter, Daya. She's married to Emilio, the gentleman who raised me, who did the Ifa in prison video. I actually saw him earlier today. And she actually gifted that to me. And it was really a headache to get the video from one place to the next to be actually able to post it on YouTube because I'm technologically at a disadvantage. But we were able to make it happen, and it was really intense. Like, I look back at it, I think about the story I told. It might have been a little intense, but that was a real story. I actually interacted with a gentleman who was from Reynosa, and he was mishandled at a ceremony one time. And when he saw me directing ceremony and he saw how I'm a very gregarious guy, and he was like, man, I wish I would have started this path, interacting with you, because the other guy, if I wasn't an older man or if I wasn't, a changed man, things could have ended differently. And he was very serious about it. So, and he was from a very serious place. If you look up Reynosa, I mean, its reputation speaks for itself. So, that's why the Ifa bullying, I think, was a great way to start off, because, just because we have Ifa or we have Orisha doesn't mean we're God. We have to treat people well. We need to be humble. And that really helped Orula get through life. I mean, if you look at all the stories and close calls Orula had, his humility and his discretion really provided him that longevity.
Wow. So Dennis is doing another super chat here.
Wow, thank you.
Give a comment.
Forgot to mention, I'm also on the yellow team, Baba. Oh, man, so I'm thinking this is back to the gentleman. He said he was Obekana. He just finished his hand of Ifa today. You're leaning more towards Ifa, I think, if we have all those qualities. If not, you could be an excellent Oriate as well. The yellow team is a great team. You have to really understand your guardian Orisha. You have to be very patient with Oshun. She can be patient with you. I know as a son of Oshun, she really doesn't have patience for our nonsense. She has the tendency to want to spoil us. I mean, even me, my name is Oshun Nike, which means Oshun gave us this child to take care of, or to spoil. So, I know her well, and I know that when we're disobedient or we don't do what we know we need to do, we go back, 5 years, 5 steps, whatever it is as far as obstacles to our ultimate goal. So, focus on your relationship, focus on your spirituality and whatever priesthood you're trying to delve into, and you'll be fine. But Obekana with Ochung is a great combination. It's really what you make of it. So thank you so much for the support.
All right, we got a gold super chat here.
Oh, God, what's that?
It's a $10 super chat.
Good Lord. Thank you so much. Who is this?
Oh, sorry.
Go down a little bit.
Junior.
Junior. Oh, my godson Junior. Thank you so much. Just giving back for the education you give us all. Like we thank Orula, we thank you, Baba Che. Thank you so much, Mihao. May Shango bless you. Thank you so much.
All right, let's get back to the chat here.
Take a little sip of water.
All right.
Fumbile for Ifa for a child of Ogun. Ofumbile, specifically for the child of Ogun, is an interesting, it's kind of like a conundrum because Ogun was a very solitary guy and Ofumbile was a very solitary guy, but he was kind of an extroverted introvert because he was really introverted, but he was always surrounded by people. I think for someone with that situation is you have to find ways to be surrounded by people and not feel alone. We have to learn how to communicate, help people understand us, try to understand people as well. It's not just us. And, we can find some happiness there and some tranquility. But Ofumbile, even though he's surrounded by people, even so-called friends, he finds himself within and without. So it's really about building real connections. It's not about quantity. It's about deep interactions with people, especially our partner, so we don't have these feelings of, complete loneliness,
Wow. Hey, Joseph, I gotta drop a bomb here.
Oh, Lord.
We got a $20 super chat.
Good God, help us.
This
Thank
is
you.
from Letitia.
Wow. I'm going to have to take my time with this one.
One
Miss
more.
Letitia. Oh, yeah, definitely another bomb. Can you explain? Ikai Wori. It's also known as Ikafefe. This is my Odu for Hanabifa. My guardian Orisha is Obadala. So I know this Odu pretty well. Actually, I've interacted with quite a few people with it. I've been able to see it in person. There was a very famous Bawalao that I've actually interacted with some of his descendants and disciples. His name was Isa Rondo. He was from the municipality of Mantilla in Havana. And this gentleman really was an eminence within Ifa. He was very knowledgeable. He interacted with some of the best Bawalaos over there. I've met some of his godsons when I've gone through processes, And he was an interesting case because in his Odu, or this Odu, which is yours, Miss Letitia, is the Odu of the bat. Now, we have to really analyze this animal. The bat, from a positive aspect, has a radar, where it says that the person is going to have mediumship by excellence by nature. You're going to be able to hear things, feel things, see things. But with that, we need a lot of elevation so that we don't become spiritually and emotionally unstable, because if not, it can be overstimulating and we won't have a life, right? The bat is able to, because of this, maneuver in the dark, once again, referring to the mediumship. It's able to survive on very little. It has great survival tactics. Another thing is it's a very prosperous animal. For all the people who've seen Ace Ventura, they produce guano, right? And, Ifa interprets this as somebody who can produce a very high value item. So sales, a career in finance, any of these things, Ikafefe is going to do very well. From a negative standpoint, Ikafefe has to be very careful with immobility. If we look at the bat, it has no ability to walk. And in the Odu of Ikafefe was where the bat didn't perform sacrifice and he had to rely on his arms rather than his legs. From what I understand about this gentleman, Isa, who was this Odu, Bawalawo, he reached a point within his life where he was unable to walk. And he was, delegated to a wheelchair. So he ended up living the story of the bat where he was immobile. So Ifa says you have to be very careful with your joints, your feet. You have to be careful breathing. And this Odu is actually, I'm not being comical, is where bats started smoking cigarettes. And there's actually videos of this online. So you have to be careful with asthma, breathing. Bats are really interesting because the only time they really hit the ground is to be able to get pure air into their lungs. Because what happens is the guano within the cave releases so much methane. They're unable to breathe sometimes. So a lot of the times when they're leaving the cave is to hunt or to breathe or, whatever it may be. But Ikafefe speaks heavily of the bat. This is an animal, You have to understand pure excellence. We have to eat pretty well with that sign as well, because the bat is anemic. He's always drinking blood, or you have the other variation where they're always eating fruit. There's some insomnia in this Odu. Obviously, they're nocturnal. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. But it's a really fabulous Odu in that regard. And another thing in that Odu is where the primates first started initiating into Orisha and Ifa. So it's saying that the person has a predisposition, especially if they're a child of Shango or Obatala, because obviously those two deities played a huge role in the apes process, along with Orumela. In that Odu, it's very important to be transparent with your relationship. And that Odu was where Oshun was revealed to be having an affair with Bawalaye by the quails to Ogun, right? Where it was a real big mess, and the quails died, and it was a real mess. So a lot of positives in that Odu. It's also where luxury and commodity first happens. So the person is meant to live a very comfortable lifestyle, but we have to work for it. So we can go on and on and on, but just to give you some key points about your Odu, one that I really enjoyed studying, to say the least, and Baete Isa.
All right, so Rachel is in the chat. She needs some help here.
Rachel, can you send me blessings for court on Wednesday? I'm trying to keep a PPO against an unsafe person. Well, you've done the right thing first and foremost by getting the authorities involved. Protect yourself at all times. Stay alert. And definitely all the blessings in the world. As long as your cause is righteous, Odisha will make sure we're victorious every time.
Okay, so we have this feature on the
Love
website.
the shades, Phil.
I know. Thank you. So if you guys have visited our new website, it's outrootspodcast.com. But if you go to outrootspodcast.com/voicemail or click the little microphone in the corner of the screen, you can actually leave a voicemail. So we got a couple of them. Now, my question for you, Joseph, I haven't heard these.
Oh, yeah. Let's just go raw, man.
So are you sure?
Yeah. Regardless of it, it'll be entertaining, man. It's 1 million views. Let's make it memorable.
All right. So here is the first one.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, it's Oshun Poroye.
Oh.
We're here having a watch party, and we're testing this voicemail feature. So let's see if it comes out on the show, Phil. We're here with the Yawo. Say hi, Yawo. Hi.
Oh,
We're here with Ignacio, soon to be Olorisha.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Blessings.
And we're here with Miss Kathy, our tarot reader, espiritualmente, a little expert.
Oh,
Wepa!
Oh, God. This is what's going on in my home when I'm not there. And I hear my daughter in the background watching Miss Rachel.
Oh, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, shout out to the crib, man. That's funny.
I think we got another one. Hold on. I'm clicking on the inbox here. It's getting slow. Hold on. While you do that, here, let me, hold on. Here we go. Here's from Ogunbi.
Ogumbi, talk a bit about Iresi and what it means to have it. So, Silemu means to be protected or to be immune to danger. So it's basically kind of like a force field. It's kind of like an aura. But the most important thing is preserving it, because some people get this ide and they just start, going off the hinge and start doing a little bit of nonsense. You want to avoid that, and you want to keep doing what you're doing, because that's what's gotten you here. It's a need for protection or a blessing of protection. Either way, it'll be solidified by your ebo as well as your iwale or your character.
Hold on. I'm still trying to get here. Hold on. I'm trying to get the other one up. But here we go. More questions.
Chango 4, congratulations, Bawa. Can you speak on Osagana? Chango 4, what's up? Osagana, interesting Odu, because it's actually one of the signs in the book that says the person can't do Ifa initiation. I don't agree with this, but it is an Odu where the person, if they want to take the next steps into Ifa, they need to be very dedicated and really show Orula that they're serious, because Osagana kind of has this demeanor where they're half in, half out. Does it work for me? Does it not work for me? You need to make decisions based on your desires and what you want to accomplish rather than what the world's providing you, because that's transient. So Osagana was also a very famous Bawalao, Fernando Osagana. Real gentleman, real guy that walked this fraternity, very thorough, expert in the ceremonies and swearing ins of Oro. So, Ibaeda, Fernando, and all the gentlemen who've had that Odu. As well as Beto Sakana as well. Very well-known Bawalao. You know, really, really knowledgeable as well. And, you know, Ibae.
All right. That's why we got another chat.
Oh, man, that's what's up. The whiz, I would imagine. I was told that was Shango, white elephant. What does that mean? Thanks, Baba. Okay, so now, mind you, the elephant is usually an animal that is associated with Obadala as well as Orumila. So what could have happened is that maybe Shango revealed an Odu for you that spoke of this animal, or a story that mentioned this animal that caused them to interpret that way. Within my recollection, the white elephant who interacted with them the most was Orumila and the Odu Otruponche, and Obadala when he cursed the white elephant, the Odu of Owanboga. So as far as Shango and the white elephant, I'm not really sure, but I know Shango is seen as riding a white horse in some literature of Ifa when they were brought over via Europe. So that's the best response I can give. But either way, you got to look at both of the characters. You know, Shango's personality, the white elephant's personality. What we have to avoid here is vanity. Shango was very vain. The white elephant was obviously very vain, and vanity really doesn't get us anywhere. You know, we can have self-confidence, but we should always avoid being vain because that leads to narcissism, which leads to loneliness.
Oh, man. All right, we got a $10 one.
Oh, my God.
No comment. It's just the dancing thing.
God bless the Lemonhead dancer from Hammer. Yeah, Hammer time. Yeah,
right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, so let's all right, let's get some love to people here. Greetings, family. New Jersey up in the house.
Oh, shout out to Jersey. Shout out to Johnny.
All right, so there's so many comments here.
Really? How many people are watching right now, brother?
I don't have the screen. I think it was like 70 something. But if you guys are watching, tell me how many people are watching right now.
That's awesome.
But here you go. Here's another question here.
Mayana Potter. Hey, Baba, what do you know of Oya Dumi? So here's the thing. When we talk about Lukumi, you know, unfortunately there was some grammatical deterioration that happened, which are normal when we're victims of transculturation. Oyadumi may be a deterioration of the phrase Oyabumi, which is actually a very conventional name in Africa. If I recall, it means Oya defends me, or Oya, you know, protects me, something to that effect. So remind you that every name of Orisha is ultimately a path of Orisha. So not all of them have as much information as some of the more popular paths. So you're writing your own story as we speak, if that's your name in Orisha.
Wow. So we got another
Good
$20.
Lord. It's like a war out there.
No comment. Just from best version of myself.
Wow, that's really fabulous, guys. If you think of one later, let us know, man. Thank you. Good Lord.
Wow. Oh, here it is. It came up. There we go.
Baba, can you explain Otura Meji? This was my Odu for Hand of Ifa. My guardian Odisha is Babaluai. This Odu is miraculous. It's divine. When you look in the book, it says it's the Odu that's on par with God. And this sign was where the white Babalawo learned how to create a human being, but did it without permission, so things went wrong. Ultimately, the person is meant for priesthood based on their conditions, either male or female. You know, if they have the capabilities of becoming a Babalawo, they should. Or if they have the vocation for Orisha, they should just do something. Because Otura Meji has very big celestial debts, and they really owe quite a bit to the spirituality, especially when we talk about the topic of them being alive. Had it not been for Ifa or their destiny, they would have never made it. There's a very important ebo that needs to be done in Baba Otura Meji that is known as the ebo of the lumberjack, where there's a pillow involved, the person has to chop wood, Eshu's fed a rooster, smoke signals are sent in a very specific fashion to the sky. I've done this at both twice. And the people that did it were awarded extremely large sums of money. And Otura Meji was where money came down from heaven. So, for example, one client who was involved in construction, after she did this at both, two really great things happened. She was able to survive a heart attack that was completely unexpected. Mind you, she had a smoking habit, but nothing had come up on her physicals. And then, secondly, she received an $80,000 contract. You know, so it was very for her. And then And yeah. And then the other woman actually, got a settlement at a very large amount that I won't even state here. But it was a very good day for her. So Otura Meji is an Odu where Ifa and the universe is trying to put things in a way so the person can take further steps if they're not already within their priesthood. But with the economic blessings that come, the person must solidify themselves spiritually. So either Crown Bawaluaye or Crown Bawaluaye and Duifa or whatever the specifics are with you. But I love that Odu. Baba Otura Meji, top 3 Odu that I enjoyed studying. Ogunda Meji was up there as well.
All right, so we got another voicemail. Again, I haven't heard this.
Let it rip,
and this
man.
person didn't put their name either, so this could be
it could be rough.
Disaster.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh God.
Greetings. The question I would like to ask is, how can people who aren't initiated yet develop more of a relationship with their ancestors? I've been told to leave water and food on my altar, but I feel like I need to do more. So, yes, thank you so much. I appreciate everything you do.
All right, cool.
Well, we survived that one. Great question by that viewer.
No name, by the way.
Yeah, no, we love the anonymous support as well. And I would say this. For the uninitiated who don't have Hand of Ifa, or don't, more importantly, have their Egungun icon, you're going to be somewhat limited when it comes to ancestor worship. As far as altars, you really want to develop a bóveda. And, for all those who are unaware, my wife, Poroye, has a mentorship class going on right now where we sit all you guys together. We go over how to construct a bóveda correctly, the things you need, how to go about it. On the bóveda, which is the table with the white cloth and glasses of water, you want to avoid material offerings, food, coffee, cigars. You want to keep it a very meditative place, very namaste, I guess you could say. White cloth, clear water, perfume, translucent in the beginning, white flowers, things that are going to purify and elevate and educate those spirits. Where you get into the food offerings and things like that is more when you receive a gungun. But here's the trick. Not that you want to overstimulate this spot in nature, but visiting the cemetery, visiting where your ancestors are buried and leaving offerings there is legitimate, right? You just want to make sure if you're feeling a little woozy after the cemetery, you clean yourself real quick with something, because there's a lot of stuff in there, So you can do that because in Nigeria, a gungun is placed where our ancestors are buried. So until you have a gungun, you can go make offerings to the gungun or bones of your ancestors. So that could be something as well. Glass of water, white candle. Definitely look into Poroye's bóveda class. It's a great first step.
How do you spell Egungun? Because I always just omit it when I'm doing the shorts.
Egungun is Egungun, but for short, people just say Egun, so Egun.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got another one from one of the great people here, Liquid Waters.
Oh, man. Shout out to Liquid Waters. Thank you so much for your consistent support. Love the, what is that, an apple head or is that a pear?
It's a pear.
Oh, love the pear people.
Yeah, one came exactly right after that.
Oh, my God. The fiasco. That's awesome. I love that word. Aboru aboye. What advice can you give Omo Shango Okana Trupong? Thank you and many congratulations, Baba. Thank you so much. Fiasco. I love that name. Okana Trupong. This Odu was where the king had a servant. The king was Shango. Some people say it was Badala, Yagana, what have you. It's the same archetype. And he trusted his servant when he maybe shouldn't have. He had this custom where he would travel for work and doing, royal business. But every time he would come back to the palace, things seemed normal, but he would feel off. So he went to visit the Babalawo. Okana Trupong was revealed, and Ifa told Shango to arrive home earlier than expected one day. When he did, he walked in on a complete freak show, like the most ridiculous party. Imagine the Hollywood Hills. And, his servant mocked him and leaving witchcraft and cursing his throne, which explained why every time he sat down, he felt off. So the king said, "This is what you do when I'm not around?" And the guy was like, "No, it's not what it looks like." He says, "Bro, you have a freak show, you have a circus going on in my house." So he had him executed. you know, or since had him kick dudes while lives outside the house, where I highly recommend that for Okana Trubon. Also, Okana Trubon has to be careful with stomach issues. It's where, you know, in trying to kill Rumila, Ogun and his 3 sons killed themselves. And it's also an Odu that speaks heavily of Osain. So Okana Trubon has quite a bit of possibilities within Ifan, Orisha, and possibly even Palo, depending on what their desires are. But it's a pretty eclectic Odu, but that's probably a central story I could think of. And all the Okanas speak of Shango somehow, because he was born in Okanameji, and that story is also present in Okanameji, which is what I base myself off of.
Oh, so let me ask you a question here, right? When did you know, what video did you like, wow, we actually got something here? Do you have a certain episode that you realized was like, okay, this is it?
I think when we started with you, brother. I mean, you talking about pre-you?
No, since me. Like, is there?
Oh, a video where I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much good material, man. What was it great? Yo, honestly, man, I think Oshun's video. I think the one we did with Poroye. When I saw how that response came, and you know, it's almost at 10,000 views right now. Another one was Popola. Like when we did Popola, and I was actually
First one.
Yeah, when I was actually sitting in front of Popola, and you know, there's a bunch of things that happened off camera that were really entertaining as well and really enlightening with him.
You should tell that story to VIPs.
Yes, Popola's the man, dog. He was a cool guy, man. I haven't had the chance to speak to him much since then. You know, he's a very busy man. Obviously, we have our schedule. But it was a really great experience. It was a really great experience. And when I'm sitting in front of this guy that, you know, I've been reading his books, you know, forever, and been seeing him online and, you know, just seeing what he accomplished, you know, and how many people he's educated and elevated, I'm like, oh my God, it's just me and him, you know, and Joseito, obviously. I was just like, wow, we're here, you know, so it was a moment, you know. And then, you know, other things that have come after the podcast that haven't necessarily been recorded, people I've met that I haven't really mentioned, really eternity, actually taking the time to sit with me and possibly have more things coming with them. Like, it's so humbling, man, because, you know, you hear about these people, you don't ever meet these people, but we have.
I think the one for me was the episode with Rafiq.
Which one, the Ogun or the Hoodoo one?
Both.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. Shout out to my godson Rafiq. Love you, Poppy. He's a great guy.
So that one right there. Well, we can't really talk much more longer because we got another one from
so
Best
sick.
Version of Myself again.
Wow. Bawa Turamedi. This is my old dude for Hand of Ifa. My guardian Orisha is Bawa Luaye. So we're delving back in. That's awesome.
Wait, is that the same question?
I want to say, yeah, we touched on that one.
My bad. Oh, I'm sorry then. Oh, we got another one. So,
okay.
This is from High Dollar Honey.
Great name. Thank you. So relevant. And my Odisha is Nanaburuku. Awesome. Great Odisha, and Odisha that speaks heavily in my sign. She has a lot to do with matrimony, stability. Remember, this is the woman that Bawaluaye ultimately married when he became king in Dahomey. So definitely important when you receive either of them that you receive the family, Afra, Nana, Nanu, Bawaluaye, and you know that whole family.
All right, I'm rolling up top here.
Best Botanica in Orlando. Thank you, Miha.
No, you gotta say it like she said.
Best Botanica in Orlando.
All right, hold on. There's so many here. This might be a little longer, so I'll read it to you in case it gets cut off.
Nice. I've been told not to worry about the specifics when it comes to Ifa traditions. How do you strengthen spiritual
connections with the warriors and Teha?
Well, you know, specifics, you know, there is minutia that you do have to pay attention to, because this is a game of centimeters. So, you know, when, like, for example, someone who, you know, is in my profession, when you're coordinating ceremony, directing ceremony, you have to be very precise. Now, mind you, you have to understand the concepts behind what you're doing, so that if something is alternative or not exactly how we always do it at that moment, you have to understand whether it's against what we're doing or really doesn't have an effect at all. That's when we're talking about don't worry about specifics, you know, the allegorical things. For example, do I give El Iguá the Aroma de Cuba cigar, or do I give him the Cohiba cigar? It doesn't matter. It's a cigar. But for example, let's say a ceremony takes a goat and you're putting a pigeon. That's when we have to pay attention to specifics. How do you build more of a relationship with the warriors and the Teja? Going through your processes, sticking to your fundamentals. Once a week with the warriors, at least once a month with the Teja. It's going to be a long, monotonous process. Some people move quicker than others, but the key to success, forgive me, is consistency. So, and you also have to understand, what are your goals? Are you expecting the Teja to speak to you? Because that's not going to happen. But if you're expecting, inspirations and whatnot, meditation, listening with the heart rather than the ears is going to provide you the best results.
Guess what?
Oh, Lord.
You ready for me to drop a bomb?
God.
Yo!
Jay Grizzly, Popo Calienta here. Blessings and congratulations on achieving a milli. Yes. What taboos, Patagi's advice can you give a son of Ochosi with Ikafun for the Mano de Orula? Oh, man. Ikafun. There's a couple Patagis there. I mean, you have the 16 commandments of Ifa. You have when death would dress up as a woman to eat the virgins in the land. You have the story where the guy did witchcraft to a woman and he died before he was able to take it off of her, so she was left miserable for a lifetime.
Oh no.
Yeah, we'll actually get to that one because it kind of has like a hunter type thing, even though Ochosi isn't necessarily mentioned there. And that sign was where a woman or a man was very interested or infatuated with a woman, but he felt like he didn't have a chance with her naturally. So he decided to set a trap for her, kind of like hunters do. And he did witchcraft to her, causing her to become unexpectedly infatuated with him. They began a relationship, got married, lived pretty well. But obviously the gentleman never told the woman that he had done witchcraft to her, causing her to basically alter her life for him. And when he died, because he was a little bit older than her, she started feeling the negative effects of the witchcraft that was actually buried at their house. She went to visit a Baalao where they were able to identify the location, dig it up, and destroy it, where she was able to move on with her life. There's other versions where they did not, where she died in misery. Another aspect of Ikafun that speaks of Oshosi is, and that sign is where Ochosi told the new initiates of Orisha that he didn't want them in the woods for the first year in white. So in that Odu, we have to be very obedient to our guardian Orisha as well as the Orishas to not feel their wrath, right? So definitely the person there, the son of Ochosi there, it's up to them whether they want to wash or crown or if they want to do Ifa. It's really up to them, but they have a lot of possibilities there. But Ochosi's great.
All right. It looks like we got a phone call here.
Very nice.
All right. So you're live on the air. Who is this? Hello? Hello? They hung up.
Okay. Well, it's what the callback feature is for. We appreciate it.
All right. Here we go.
Gabrielle. Baba, what consequences or spiritual problems can manifest within somebody who has their cuadro espiritual disorganized
and unaligned?
A lot of negative things. I mean, the symptoms are so eclectic. I mean, pop tire, God forbid a car accident, religious or spiritual phenomena in the house that'll make you feel very uncomfortable and poltergeisty, depression, joint pain and pressure. I mean, anything you could think of can go wrong. You want to be aligned with these people. These people are who you were in the past life. So you have debts with them and, whatever they were able to or unable to fulfill in their past life. So you need a boeda, you need a spiritual mentor, you probably need a misa, you need hand of ifa, you need a gungung. It's a costly path. It takes time to get organized. It's like, let's say you have years of untreated back trauma and you go to the chiropractor, they're like, yo, you're going to need like 20 sessions and adjustments to get back on track. Ifan Orisha is the same way. The problem is we're living in a time where our spiritual self is so neglected. Like, it's sad because a lot of people could probably just get resolved with a couple glasses of water on a table. But, some people get a lapse around the problem without actually ever making a pit stop to solve it.
Hey, so Jenny's asking a quick question here.
Sure, Padrino, will the store start having classes on herbs? We're thinking about really organizing that. I mean, for all those who want to learn about herbs right now, the membership program is probably best. We're almost halfway through of the first 21. But that's probably the best option right now. If someone wants to specifically learn about herbs or learn about herbs that we haven't touched on, you're more than welcome to schedule those coaching sessions with me via the Botanica. That way, you're not waiting around to be able to progress at your own pace.
Here's an interesting one. I don't think this person has commented before, so this may be a first timer here.
Mariana Potter, Baba, what are steps that should be taken after your hand of Ifa breaks? Have you ever experienced it breaking? Oh Lord, yeah, mine have broken like serendipity. Like I've literally not, I don't know, I've put it on and it hasn't got snagged on anything and it just bursts. I mean, that was some intense spiritual, conflict going on when that occurred. But, I've heard everything. Lost it in the ocean. It fell off my wrist, dog ate it. I've heard it all. Reach out to your elder. Have them throw the chain real quick to see if anything needs to be done. Replace it as quickly as possible, but don't be afraid either. That means it did its job somehow. So, it's actually very commonplace. And to be frank with you, the thread that they used to make them really isn't that great. So.
All right. So I'm scrolling through so many here.
Wow.
Hold on. Let's go here.
Super chat, guys. Get to the top of the list.
Yeah, there's so many. Here you go.
Quez go crazy. Is there specific situations for spiritual mass? How do you know when to have a spiritual mass? Spiritual masses can be done once a year. If you've never had one done, you should just get one out of the way to kind of delve into your court. If things are going negatively, that's usually when you're going to pay the most attention. The same symptoms as when you're spiritually disaligned are the same symptoms you should analyze when scheduling a spiritual mass. Any types of issues that compound upon each other, just a real, relentlessness when it comes to kind of the universe wearing down on you. But misas can also be done in appreciation for things that you've been able to, accomplish, celebratory. You also have elevations masses, which is like for spirits that need to grow. Even believe it or not, having a church mass in honor of your spirits can be very beneficial as well. Or whichever type of spirituality is familiar to you, whether it's a Muslim, like a Jummah, or, any type of those communal moments of worship can actually be very beneficial for your ancestors or spiritual court.
All right, we got a live caller. You're live on the air. Who's this?
Alex.
Hi. Hey, thank you so much for calling in.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to, hi, good night. I just wanted to ask if your initiation to Lukumi, I just was recently initiated to Lukumi, and I wanted to know, I'm going to get scratched. What is the difference between getting scratched and getting your actual Ilegua and the rest of your warriors? And then what happens from there?
Great question. Now, you said you've just been initiated. What initiation have you gone through, if I understood correctly?
Just getting my beads and getting my guardian. That's it.
Okay. Here's the thing. Scratching is the initiation into the religion of Mayombe, right? So that's a completely different religion from Ifa and Orisha, right? So that's a completely different path. They walk sometimes, parallel or congruently, because both of these tribes made it to Cuba or the New World in excess. There was a big mass of this demographic, but ultimately two different religions. So now in some houses of Palo, as it's known, or Mayombe, you might receive a Lucero, which is like the Eshu of Palo or Elegua of Palo, but completely different archetype, Your warriors is another step within Ifa and Orisha. So that's helping you get closer to whatever goal that it is that you have, whether it's just spiritual elevation or maybe you want to delve into priesthood one day. The necklaces and are very important, and a lot of houses do it. For example, my house does not, because we give the necklaces when you crown Orisha to be able to save you a couple of dollars. And where they're actually properly consecrated is in the Orisha ceremony. They should be born with the Orisha icon that they're representing. And then another thing that has to be analyzed is the format in which your guardian Orisha was revealed, to see, in what kind of house do you want to proceed? Because you have a lot of houses that, really, omit the services of the Babalawo, where for the longest time, the Babalawo, via the Iking divination method, was the one who would identify guardian Orishas. All of these things have to be taken into. I hope I didn't confuse you more than clarify.
No. Is there any books that you can download or get online that maybe I could do some research about this stuff?
Understandable. And I get questioned a lot about literature. Other than the channel, I really don't recommend much because the majority of the material that I've been able to sift through, a lot of it is somewhat incoherent. You know, it's not really, you're going to be learning a lot more of what you shouldn't than what you should. Up until this point, we've recommended Baba Popola's books at ifalinks.com. I don't know if it's going to touch on a lot of what you're asking because it's material that comes from a completely different tradition, Sheshe, where, you know, they don't really mention Mayombe or they don't mention, you know, bead initiations or the difference. They just focus on their tradition because they don't have the homogeny of traditions that we do. But ultimately, the best source of information, literary or not, is going to be a mentor, a guide, a coaching session, someone that's going to be able to say, hey, this is what you need to do. This is the action plan, and really base it upon their reputation so that you can have some real accomplishments and set some short-term and long-term goals if you want.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening.
All right. Thank you for calling. Okay, so I have to sift through all of these.
It's a lot.
You know what? You didn't even show the cake.
I did show the cake. I never hid the cake.
Say what it says.
It says, Joseph, please don't come back.
No. It says you're fired.
1 million views. Yay. I want to take a moment to thank your wife so much and your son. You know, needless to say, me walking in, you know, my chicken wings in my mouth, you know, and seeing a cake, I said, wow, these people are amazing, man. I don't know, gifts for me, man, I have a whole different, you know, concept of them because, you know, up until, you know, adulthood, I wasn't used to getting them, not because, you know, my mother and my grandmother didn't give me quite a bit. It's just, you know, when you're going through, you know, marginal situations, you're not expecting anything. So every time I get anything, you know, even if it's a hello, I'm very appreciative, man. So something like this gesture, man, you guys are family. Really appreciate it, brother.
Speaking of somebody who's also in the family here, we got another message from Queen.
Hey, Queen, any Odu on the red parrot feather and why many practitioners wear them at festivals and functions? Absolutely. So the red parrot feather actually doesn't have a pretty beginning. One of the stories in the Odu of Obeche says that the parrot didn't perform sacrifice and he started actually bleeding out of his rear end. And that's what caused the red feather hue, where the Odu Obeche speaks of internal hemorrhoids. You have to be careful with cysts, fibroids, fibromas, you know, all these things that can cause bleeding in the posterior part of the body, right? So there's that. And then in the Odu of Obeche, as well as Osheni Lobe, was where they threw osung powder on the African gray's white tail, thus causing the feather to turn red, thinking they were going to besmirch him in front of Olodumare. In reality, Olodumare was kind of intrigued by his look, made him, you know, the king of birds, basically. And then the Odu of Fumeji speaks of when Obeche speaks of the concept of Oniwasu, which is the prophet, but in Ofumeji, it explains that concept a bit more, where the red parrot feather was utilized to be able to kind of serve as an antenna for the third eye. If you notice when people wear it at a tambol or when someone's wearing it in a hat, it's usually at the front right over the third eye, and it's to be able to kind of, you know, it's an antenna for spiritual inspiration, foresight, you know, all those different things. It's known as ikode or koide, right? So, and it makes reference to the African gray feather or parrot, probably one of the top three most, you know, sacred birds to us, along with the vulture and the akalamabo.
All right, folks, we got about 10 minutes left.
Wow.
This has gone by really, really fast.
Absolutely,
here.
with all these bombs. Good Lord. Thank you, guys.
All right, here we go.
Ogumbi, what else can we offer our ideas Babalawo for myself and for those who just have hand of Ifa? Ultimately, Orumela was the perfect mediator between humanity and Ori. So if you want to offer Ori something, first you have to ask if Ori wants anything, and then see what it wants, you know. For the longest time, opening over the head for people. But you have to make sure Ori gets what it wants, because sometimes it can get frustrated, even though an offering may seem positive, it might not be what it wants at the moment. For example, I might want to give my daughter some carrots. She doesn't want carrots at that moment. She wants pears. So I'm giving her something good. It's not what she wants right now. So she's going to throw the food at me. It's the same thing with ori. It could reject the offering. So you really want to focus on people's odus, what the divination method says, and not be too generic when it comes with ori, because ori is the most ungeneric, unconventional energy that exists. You know, we just don't know how he's waking up that day. That's why some people hop out of bed and some people take an extra 10 minutes. You know
what about you? Oh, hold on. Wait.
Oh yeah, I had a good morning. I spent the morning with my daughter. I made her a nice puree. We're getting into like juicing and stuff lately, so we have this great steamer, like food processor. So I made her like some apple, pear, banana. Man, she sucked that thing out the pouch, man. I had some too. I'm feeling like a kid again with her, so I'm happy to be really regulating what I eat with her, because I don't want to be eating a cheeseburger in front of her and she's eating some broccoli. So I don't feel proper about that. So I eat the broccoli with it. You know what I'm saying? I put a little Parmesan on it.
There you go. All right,
Yeah.
this question's gonna be cut off, but I'll read the rest after you. Here we go.
Got you. Alexandria, I just got my guardian angel pulled and it was Osun. Does Osun have problems with men? Also, daughters of Osun have anger
problems. What are daughters of Osun have to stay away from?
Okay, so if we're talking about Osun, the metal rooster, there's a couple different odus that talk about him. Now, mind you, in the Odu of Ikafefe, it speaks of it, Ika Rosun, Irosun Ka, where Osun is seen as Orisha. Now, mind you, in Isheshe, Osun is seen as the tool and staff of the Babalawo, so they don't necessarily give it that Orisha title. So, like, if you were to speak to an Isheshe Babalao and say, no, I'm Omo Osun, or Omo Pa Osun, they might get a little taken aback by that because they don't recognize the spirituality of Osun. In Lukumi, we do. And there is a ceremony that's done. I don't know how that necessarily works for women. It was usually reserved for the men who were going to become Bawalawo. What I have understood for the longest time is that the children of Osun, who they ultimately initiate into, is Obatala. As far as anger, Osun wasn't an angry guy. He was a little mishandled. The poor guy, he got screwed over, forgive the phrase, a couple times because he had a drinking problem and it caused him to become unconscious, be taken advantage of by the warriors. That's why he ultimately lives with them. Because in the Odu of Ogunda Rosung, and every time you hear like the Odus Irosung, Osung is probably in one of those patakis, like Ikarosung, Irosung Ka, Oberosung. He's Irosung Meji, forget about it. It's where the staff of Osung kind of manifested, Otura Rosung. He's always in one of those Odus because Irosung really belongs to him. Or he's mentioned heavily as far as the confection of the staff. And he was taking care of Obatala, goat. He drank when he wasn't supposed to. The warriors ate the goat, smeared the blood on his lips, and kept it moving. He got blamed for it, and because of it, he's always working. He's always standing on one foot, being vigilant because he got drunk and passed out, and he didn't do a good job. That's why we sing Osum moriro komadubule wurunganga la osum. Osum moriro komadubule wurunganga la osum awo, which means Osum, focus your mind. You can't fall asleep. You're the watchman. So yeah.
I like that.
There you go. Jermaine. Hello, Baba. Can you explain the main difference between Ifa and Mayombe and its traditions? Two completely different religions from two completely different places. They were actually enemies at one point. There's various Odu that speak of the war between the Congos and the Yorubas. Tradition-wise, there's going to be different expressions. Their icons look a little different than ours do, but their archetypes are very similar. They're very ancestor-based. They're very nature-based, as we are, but we have a little more complexity. I think it comes to our practice. We have more tools. We have more, avenues, I'd like to say. They're very rustic, and it's beautiful. It wasn't my path personally. A lot of God brothers that are my umberos, God sisters, friends, surrounded by, some of my kids. It really experiment them, feel them out, see how you feel about it. And maybe both are for you, maybe one is, maybe neither are, or one isn't, or however that kind of manifests. But our ideology is actually pretty similar, but the way it looks is going to be very different, All
right, last couple of questions here. Before we get to that, though, let's just say congrats.
Congrats, Bob. I love the contact. Thank you, Jabri.
All right, here we go.
Julian, hello, Baba. Can you speak on Ogun Nakana? Recently, reading for me. Would just know how to move forward once.
Once again, congrats.
Thank you. Ogun Nakana is also known as Ogun Folokana or Ogun Nako. And what happens is in that Odu was where the person was trying to focus on everyone except Orumila because he thought the other deities of Ifa were more powerful than Orumila, where he dedicated a lot of time to Osang and Oro and Ayang, the drum, thinking he was going to resolve more with them than Orumila. But the problem was Orumila turned his back on him, and he had to, via his study and his dedication to Ifa once more, which took quite some time, have to call Orumila back into his home. This Odu says that the person has to focus. They're all over the place. Ogun Nako is somebody that's running and they don't know why. It says it. La persona corre y no sabe por qué. So this Odu has to take a moment, sit down, calm their mind, and unify it with their body so they can kind of have a north. But you might have a future as a Baalao depending on your qualities, but regardless of which, you have to focus on the deities that focus on you. Your guardian Orisha, Orula, your warriors, so that you don't overstimulate yourself with other things because you could actually be going backwards and not realize it. Ifa of the crocodile.
All right. Guess what?
More fire. Ogunbi, I was told before I did Ifa that I needed to get my knife soon after. What does it mean to get your knife for a child of Ogun? This is a great question. My brother, I actually just, it's ironic because I gave a cuchillo to my one of my godsons last week. Ceremony I love giving, ceremony I love directing. But for the son of Ogun, there's a couple steps that are incorporated that are completely different for everybody else. Soon is relative because no one, regardless of guardian Orisha, should receive the Kwanado before a year of Ifa initiation. So you did Ifa, everybody has to wait a year because in the Odu of Barakana was where they gave Shango the knife too quickly and he killed everybody. But the reason Ogun is so, affiliated with the knife was he was the constructor of the knife in Osameji and Ogundameji. In Ogundameji, it says it was where he first utilized it, really, but where he really constructed it was in Osameji, where he provided it to Talabi, who was Obatala's son, and Orumila, to be able to defeat the Iamio Shoronga in the format of the Ada Orisha, right, which was the ancestral Obe, or knife, right? The society of the knife holders were known as the Obalogun. So, for you guys, it's very particular. And, it has to be handled with great care. But the children of Ogun, it's somewhat of a different ceremony because of the steps that go in. So you definitely want to get with your elders once you hit the year. And if you have the means, because it's not cheap, depending on, where and how and what you do, you want to go ahead and take that step. I'll say that Ifa was a great step for me, but where life really started getting better and changed for me was, after I received the cuchillo or Kwanadu. So I'll give you that experience. My wife actually helped me pay for it. God bless her.
Nice. So, guys, I want to ask if you were in the channel, if you have any actually questions about the channel, because we're wrapping up here. We're not going to be able to answer everybody's questions because there's just so many. But, we actually do these lives once, twice a month for the members.
Yeah, get in there. We were talking about that the other day, Phil, how the membership program, it's providing a lot of value. Another thing we want to mention as well is that we're really expanding our repertoire of interviews where, Ifa and Orisha is going to always have some themes within what we're speaking about. But if you know somebody with an amazing story that might not be as, closely related to Ifa as some of our other topics, they're still welcome to come on. We're definitely diversifying as far as themes and topics, especially with some of the upcoming episodes that we have, so we're really excited about that idea. Our first Spanish episode came out with Hector, the Obauriate, son of Oshun, for 30 years. Great episode if you're able to understand it, and a couple great episodes coming up, definitely.
Yeah, I have to say there's a couple episodes that are in the future that are going to be like, wow.
Yeah, like really out there and in all the right ways, really enlightening conversations that I really enjoyed being a part of.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you, Joseph. I mean, it's been
Thank you, brother.
Tremendous journey, 1
Wild
million
ride.
views. And, you know, your channel already had a bunch of views before me, but I mean, since I've been here,
We've done all right
it's been
since we've been doing. We're about to hit 15,000 this month, barring any apocalyptic activity.
right. And the podcast episodes, guys. So, if you have an iPhone or if you use Spotify, you know, you can take the episodes with you. They're all there, and make sure you actually leave a review for Joseph. That actually helps the channel grow as well, because we have a lot of people who listen to the podcast and then they realize, oh, there's a YouTube channel, and then they come over.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Google reviews on the Botanica are great as well. And, you know, a lot of truckers and a lot of mobile professionals actually, you know, do exactly what you just stated, Phil. Like, I actually just consulted a woman who's a trucker, and she's like, you know, I've literally listened to every session. And, you know, I said, well, prove it. She's like, well, in this episode, you said this, you guys talked about this, and oh, this, and the baby. I'm like, wow, you know, and for people, you know, money's one thing. We sincerely appreciate that. It makes a lot of things possible. And with the fact that you guys are investing time into what we're providing is the most humbling thing. You know, it's incredible, especially when it's of the essence, you know.
Oh, someone's actually got a question about how did we meet.
Oh my gosh, you know, I'll give a brief because we have a surprise episode coming up. But Phil came at a really divine moment because I was really done with the channel. You know, we had quite a few subscribers. I think we were getting near 6,000, so it was somewhat impressive. But you know, I was kind of done because we got taken for $600 one time by a pseudo, you know, videographer guy, and you know, that kind of stuck with me, not because of the amount, but just, you know, the salation, you know, the fact that someone would steal. So I was like, I'm done with this. You know, the Botanica was doing pretty well as it is now, and I really didn't need the channel per se. You know, I didn't want to deal with, you know, getting lied to and getting taken advantage of because, you know, technologically this takes a lot of study. But one day I actually had an offering to Ogun, and there's a Nigerian restaurant down the street from the Botanica, and as I'm walking towards it, I saw Phil's poster. And it said it said podcast doctor. So I said, you know, it's worth a phone call. You know, everything happens for a reason. And me and Erica had a conference call with Phil. Everything sounded good. I was still a little bit weary because, you know, he's a good talker. And
So are you? What are you talking about?
And I said, well, let's try. But I swear to God, if we get taken again, I'm done. And, you know, we've come out with an episode every week since.
The consistency, me being a podcast producer, you know, I'll go into this slightly, is just that if you have a podcast and being consistent is probably the biggest strength you can have. We've never missed an episode.
No.
We never missed a short. You know, there's always content.
Grace of God, yeah.
Every day that there's something to keep you guys coming back. And I think
shorts, man, Jesus.
That definitely helps the channel grow. You guys are obviously commenting it. Some of you are even stealing the content and putting it on your TikTok, which is great. Do it just as long as you send it back.
Send them back to us. Let us know where they're coming. You know.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, just someone that actually has a question about the channel. So here you go.
Jay Grizzly, you should consider having episodes with subscribers and their experience in their spiritual journey. We're all with it. We're all with it. Please, anybody. Another thing, guys, if you want to see me be interviewed, you know, or on any of these other platforms, you know, whether it be, hey, Joey Diaz, he has Odisha done, or God willing, Joe Rogan, or Soft White Underbelly. If any of you guys have any connections with other podcasts or people would be interested in having us on or them being on here, we're all with it. We're not a closed off set. We're pretty open to talking. I love meeting people, love interacting with people, love being somewhat of an ambassador for our faith and our culture. And, you know, I pretty much can talk about anything to a certain degree, and Phil can attest to that. You know, we're open. Please flood the email, let people know about us, let us know about people, and we'll have them on, you know what I'm saying? Because we want people to have a platform to be able to tell their story. Because the interesting thing about humanity is that we're interesting. You know, most people tell a story and it's pretty wild, you know, so it's really nice.
Last one. Here we go.
Lucid Gems, great name. For future episodes, we'll be bringing more Obatalas. We love the children of Obatala. If you know anybody that you want to see on here, botanicacandlesandmore@gmail.com or whatever email we're utilizing right now, Phil. for interviews, reach out in the comments. You know, I'm on Instagram. I'm on all the social platforms as well as the Botanica, the channel, etc. Let us know about them, you know, and let them know about us, and let's make it happen.
Yes. And so with that said, congratulations, Joseph.
Thank you, sir. Where's my kazoo?
There's no sound.
Oh,
so,
I think it ran away from me. It didn't like what
it.
I did to it.
You probably dropped it. So, guys, I want to thank everybody.
Yes.
You know, here's to the next million.
Sincerely.
And then the million after that.
Yeah.
And the million after that. So it's been a pleasure being your producer. I love you. You know, you're a great friend. So
Thank you, brother.
I've gained more than just a client. I've gained a personal friend as well. And that means so much to me and my family too, because you saw how she was here. So
oh man, yeah, likewise.
She loves that too. So
yeah, you know,
I love you. I love Erica. Love everybody at the store too. So it's been a complete honor being able to bring your vision out for everybody.
Thank you so much, brother, and thank you to all of our viewers. And until next time, see the light.
See ya.
A milli.